See, I already know that the way it's set up is that you're going to hate me. That's how it's designed. Okay. You hate the truth. That's how you're programmed to actually be lied to so that they are your friends. You know what I'm saying? If somebody tells you the truth, you get upset and you start attacking them. Somebody is trying to help you and you have a problem with that. See? Because you hate them. And that's evidence over and over again. I've been dealing with it my whole life. People don't want to know the truth. You're like, lie to me or I'm not going to like you. And that's just the way it's been for me my whole life. People demand that you lie to them or they don't like you. Well, I never gave a shit whether people like me or not. So, I was just like, this is what it is. And here it is. I don't know what to tell you. You asked, you got it. You don't want it? Don't ask me. Ask somebody that you want to lie to you. And that was very evident. And the repeated actions of no control or no learning ability is evident as well by Simon Cowell. Yes, he came on the scene. What was he doing? Let me see. He was actually telling the people the truth so that they didn't continue to do something for the rest of their life for 10, 20 years that he knew that they really didn't have a chance. They didn't. And if he told them that in like a patty cake kind of way, I'm going to be kind, they're going to get the message like, yeah, thanks. No, he knew what was going to happen. And that's what he operated in, what was in their best interest, which you can't do for your own children. Because unlike Simon Cowell, who can get out of his own way, you can't. Now, it took you 4 years before you stopped calling him names. You know what I'm saying? You're acting like an idiot, calling him a problem, when all he's doing is helping people and saying the truth. That was a problem to you. For 4 years it took you. Then you liked him. Why? I don't know. But did you realize that anything didn't change with him? It was you? No. No, because that would have to have you learn something, and you would have had to been wrong, and that can't be possible. No. And who was it before Simon? That basically the same thing happened to him. Okay, Simon was the second time that I saw big time like that. Howard Stern, same thing. He would tell people the truth. Everybody had a problem with that. It was like unbelievable. It's like, lie to me, lie. As a society, as a nation, you demand to be lied to. That's because that's all you are, is lied to by these cons. So they have you not accepting anything else. So how are you ever getting to reality? If you demand to be lied to, how are you ever having choice? How are you ever getting to reality? How are you ever having choice? You see, the problem that you're all going to have with me, I'm logic. You're not. Logic crushes anything with psycho anything. There's not one instance that can't happen. That's how toast you all are. That's how you're controlled. I know it. Trust me, I know it. They know you don't operate in logic, but they know that. They're living in both lanes. You only know of one, and you're sure that you have all the information, especially if you're the president, because that title leaves no doubt. And then how deluded are the presidents? Well, they wind up doing what? Foundations afterwards. Right. They don't realize, what are they doing? That's a monument of their failures. Because if they didn't fail, they wouldn't need the foundation. I mean, that's from a logical standpoint. That's logical, right? So they're actually proud of their failures. That's what that is. And they're also after the fact. In other words, they're dealing with the problems, not the cause. They're after the fact already. See? And that's the direction they're going. They're not turning around and going, how did all this shit happen? No, they're already next chapter into these foundations, and they're your presidents, for frick's sake. And they don't know. Why? It doesn't make them bad because they weren't told. That doesn't make them wrong. It's the people that don't tell them. You want to be mad at them for not being told what they were supposed to be told? That's ridiculous. You got Joe Biden going around to all the colleges about sex. They don't even know what's going on. They don't understand that they're all the same. There's not all these different things going on. There's very few. Okay? And that's how they get away with it, because they have you looking in all kinds of different directions. And these people basically run those organizations. That's why they're removing the tax break from charities. If you look at my research, which they're very aware of, you'll see it follows in line, because they're all cons, these organizations, and I can prove it. Most of them. And if I can't, bring me their shit and I'll show you. It's bullshit. Okay? That's number one. So they're going to have to get rid of that shit now. You understand? I'm just telling you what's going to happen. They're going to sell it as some kind of other thing, like, oh, but really what's going on, if you want my opinion, is this. They took away the donations. Why? Because then they're going to be able to say, well, we're not getting donations because it's not tax deductible, so now we're going to have to close them down. How am I doing, people? Slime balls? Isn't that your plan? Yeah. This way they think that all the books and all the shit that they did for the last God knows how many years will like disappear. Yeah, we couldn't keep it going because, we took away the tax thing and then people weren't donating, which we had to close them down. Really? Watch, you'll see. You'll see exactly what happens. Let me guess, you think that's some kind of like willy-nilly thing that they just happen to plot there, right? And that's all there is just that. And then you're going to argue whether they should do that or they shouldn't do that. Right? Like you're arguing how he's arguing about Donnie. Like, is he correct or is he not correct? About what he's arguing about Michael, the guy, and what he's accusing him of. Is he correct or not correct about this Michael guy? Does it matter? He's got you off target. Does it matter if he's correct or not correct? Does he give a shit if he's correct or not correct? No, he only gives a shit that you're discussing whether he's correct or not correct, that you're not pointing back at him. Because the fact that you're discussing whether he's correct or not correct means that he won. The results of his bird shit is what you chew on, not them. They don't give a shit what you come up with afterwards. It doesn't matter. They're just going to tell you blah, 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 and have you go on another birdseed mission. And you're all going to try to prove something that doesn't matter. Do you understand? And they know that. That's why they keep doing it. That's why they prevent me from telling you or any children how to protect themselves in this free country that is a concentration camp without wires. That you guys can't see and are forbidden, because obviously if Snowden has to be in Russia for warning you, where do you think you are? Better yet, who is it that you think you're protecting that has him over there when he was protecting you? When he was protecting you. Have you figured out that the same people that tell you to die for your country are the same people that tell you to not pay attention to abuses to your own kids? They have you more attached to a title or some flag than your own children. The fact that you operate both without any awareness whatsoever that they're contradicting, you're giving your life and you're allowing the same exact people to abuse your children, and you wind up defending the same people who sent you over there to give your life. So either way, you give your life or you abuse your children. You see, in a logical world, there's only people. That's what makes up the society, not the little titles or the agreement slots that they find for you, like flags and whatever, and then they just have you follow that and ignore your own children, in fact. You do know these are the same people that gave you calculators when you were in school to remove your ability to, well, inquire, quantify, basically take care of yourself. You're forced to just agree and you can't ask questions. If any of the presidential candidates walks up to you and your kids are standing there and they ask you, you have a question for them, any detailed question about any of the stuff that they talked about, what are you going to ask them? Nothing. You're going to be, hey, no, you're my man. You're the man. You already got it going. No, I don't have to ask you anything. You're good. Follow the leader. You see, you all think you know things that you can't possibly know. And it's kind of hard to get around that from my perspective. So here's how I think it needs to be gotten around. They need to speak to the kids, because the kids are going to be the ones that are left with the horse shit that's left afterwards. And then this way, if they can get the kids to agree, well, I'm sure at that point, then the parents should understand what the hell is actually going on. This way, everybody understands. And not just the lying slugs that don't even get up on the stage, the ones that are controlling the slugs that get up on the stage. The ones that follow all the rules of what do I need to do so they like me? What are the don'ts as far as truth? Oh, none? Okay, got it. And free country, right? Yeah, we got to still go with free country. Okay, free country. What else? A democracy. We have to go with democracy. Oh, they'll be so upset when they find out you have to go with democracy. I have a suggestion. When you ask somebody something, you really don't want the truth. So when you ask, you should have a blankie with you. See, from Reality Boulevard, I can do all kind of stuff. Try this on. You're going to have a hard time with me. I'm going to be your problem. But I'm going to give you a bigger problem. You ready? You can't win with my shit. You know why? Because my shit is your shit. Because my shit is your shit. This stuff takes all prisoners. That's how it's designed. It takes all prisoners. There's no way out for anybody. It evens the playing field across the board for everybody, the way it's supposed to be. Not just criminals do what the hell they want. No, now they do what they want. But now you're going to watch them do it. And then we're not going to have any more 3 strikes and you retire program. No. No, if anything, we're going to bring back public hanging for those people, for those judges that are taking money to protect society and the fabric of society and are violating society all day long. We're going to bring back public hanging. That's what we're going to do for those people. Yeah, they're not doing 3 strikes and you go in retirement. No, we're done with that system. Here's where you're always going to have a problem with me. Number 1, I'm telling you and everybody, I have no answers. 0. Just questions. Just questions. Questions. Now, what the hell are you going to do with that? I know you can't do anything with it. Because I'm just going to tell you, I'm telling you I have no answers. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you now. I don't have any answers. Okay, so you want to attack, but I'm telling you I have no answers. Okay, so who are you attacking? I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Questions. The other problem you're going to have is this. I already told you there's only 2 teams. There's only 2 teams. Me and Donnie. The evil is going to have a problem with me. There's 1,000% sure that evil will have a problem with me, baby. They've had a problem the whole time. And they throw me in jail. And they throw me in jail. And they throw me in jail. You think that's going to stop? No. All you're going to have to see, and all your children are going to have to see, is whose side are you on? Because you're not going to like me, because that's not going to be good for you and what your kids are going to think of you. That's how you're going to perceive it, because you give a shit about you. But anyway, that's going to be your reality. See? But your kids are going to be watching something different. Like, you're all of a sudden on the same team as Donnie. How did that happen? How do you like your research? You see, the reason I'm telling you this stuff is because at the bottom end of the day, I don't give a shit about you. I don't. I give a shit about the kids. And that's it. You people ruined everything. I helped you. Let's get very clear. None of us are not members of the Dumbass Club. Let me get that straight. Okay? Let's get that very clear. I'm more a member of the Dumbass Club than you'll ever be, because I spent my life in inquiry, and that means I did more dumbass shit than you people will ever have done. Are you kidding me? The only difference is I learned from all of it. You never did it. Your kids need to do it. And whatever they get, it's going to be something that they get to take with them. It's called application. If you can't apply it, it has no value. You're very much like your news when you watch the news. Those radio scanners there's no value there. If you ever remembered anything they ever told you ever, was it ever of use in the future? No, that's why they're showing it to you. For that very reason. They're not giving you value. That's why your school is that way it is. Because they're not giving you value. They're telling you that when they hand your kid a calculator, when they're supposed to be training your brain to do that for you for the rest of your life. Instead, they're circumventing you from you. You understand? And they're using your teachers to do it because, they're so smart themselves. They're brilliant, these teachers. Let me tell you. That's how smart they are. And they can't figure out why they don't get more money. Well, you're a placeholder, for frick's sake. And you're handing out your replacements, like computers and calculators. You want more money? They don't need you. obviously. So why would you think they're going to give you more money? Besides, you all bought the praise option anyway. Good boy, good girl, you're special. Oh, our teacher's the best. How many times have you heard that? We have the best teachers in the world. And everybody's clapping. No, 31 out of 35 in math, which matters only. Yeah? You're best in the world. We're circumventing your brain so that you can't be responsible for you ever. You should have a blankie with you because it's that math that's required. It's that experience that's required. It's that feet on the ground that's required. Not to listen to a drone in the front of the room repeating what a book says that has somebody else's stories in it about somebody else's opinions. You understand? That's bullshit. You get me a 9-year-old farmer boy and I'll put him up against any 15-year-old one of you. What you're going to find is your kids have stories. Stories of your stories on top of it. They don't have their feet on anything. They're not creating anything. They're not beginning, middle, and end of anything. You're not even a part of any of that stuff. You're just at the end receiving answers and then relaying the shit. You're just at the end receiving answers and then relaying the shit. Have you figured that out? You're not doing anything? Ever? But that's the only way that your brain actually receives information and has an opportunity even for long-term storage. That's the only way. You have to actually use your senses. That's the whole point. You look at animals. Their senses is what they are because that's what you're supposed to be. But they took out your senses and replaced it with books that have to go into where? Your imagination, your imagination, your imagination, your imagination. You think the content of the book matters to your brain? Really? Is that what you think? No. This is how your brain works. Your brain is programmed in language. They hack you. They hack you. They hack you. You no longer have that. It's overwritten. It's there. It's there. But boy, did they stifle it any time it comes out. They look like whistleblowers. That's there. That's somebody trying to warn you that it's there. But you're too scared to do anything because you're in control and we're number one and anything else they want to tell you are. And to make sure that you always stay there, well, if anybody tells you the opposite, doesn't lie to you, well, they're the problem. Like Simon Cowell and Howard Stern. And me. How deluded are you from these psychotic unconscionables? You will die for your country, but you won't even speak up for your kids. You see, you all praise somebody like Martin Luther King, right? But all you do is disrespect him. Did you know that? You didn't know that, did you? Yeah, I didn't think so. Did you know that you disrespected him then? No? Really? Okay. Have you ever listened to what he said? He had a problem. You know what his problem was? It wasn't the people, the madmen that were saying all the stuff. It was that the people that were being abused were silent. You. That's you he's talking about. You. He was telling you, he's telling you now, he's not here, but that didn't change. I can promise you that doesn't change. You, the ones that complain, are the cowards. You just complain. And that's it. You're not doing anything. You're just going to complain. That's what he was saying. His problem wasn't with the animals that were attacking the blacks. His problem was with the blacks that weren't standing up for themselves. And there were a lot that did, but that was his message, that the problem isn't them, it's us. He wasn't pointing to other people. He was saying it's us, not them. And as long as you point to them, you're powerless. You people think he was about black rights. Never. He had nothing. He was the opposite of that. You people think he was about black rights. No. That would have been the opposite of what he stood for. Do you know that? Do you realize that? If he would have been a stand for black rights, that would have been the opposite of what he was doing. He was a stand for humanity, which doesn't separate anything, let alone the blacks. That's not what he was doing. He was trying to include the blacks as part of everything, which is where they belong. But I wonder who was the problem there. I don't know. Why don't you go ask Ellen DeGeneres? And in case you haven't figured it out yet, you ever notice that they're going after blacks always? Yeah, it may look otherwise, but their attack is on blacks always. It's always been that way from day one, from the chemical stuff, all the stuff. It's all blacks. The drugs, all blacks. You know why? You don't know why, do you? Yeah. That's because you're trapped in the USA. Why don't you look at the globe? Tell me what color it is. Why don't you look at the globe? Tell me what color it is. Why don't you look at the globe? Tell me what color it is. That's an awful lot of work for a small percentage, don't you think? Yeah, we're going to have to find better ways. Over there, yeah, chemical weapons. Go over there, yeah, Iraq, over there. Over here, yeah, they call them vaccinations, and, you wind up with all kind of shit like autism and stuff, and then they'll argue about it, right? Yeah. And then, do you ever find out who did anything? No. You go back to the person who signed the paper. Oh, look who did it. No, trust me, they didn't do it. If they put their name on a paper, they're not the ones who did it. The ones who actually did it, their name's not on anything. Are you still wondering how things keep getting worse? And you think you're looking at the people that are doing something? No. That's so different than the people that you're electing. Those people on the stage? No, they're not running anything. Nothing. Zero. They have handlers that they have to rely on for money, which means they're not relying on you, which means that who do they have to answer to? Not you. And that's obvious when they all stand up and sit down at those hearings and shit. It looks like they're doing the wave. It's like all their asses are attached or something. It looks like a child congregation there. I mean, they're telling you that they're drones that they can't even individually stand up for frick's sake because they're in a Nazi regime right there. They have to look all around them for who's looking because they know they're basically incarcerated in that seat. But they're not going to tell you that because what would you think of them? Yeah. No, your system, you don't actually get to question the people that control you. I could be wrong, but I remember that as communism. You think the worst prisoner is the one that's stuck in. No. The worst prisoner is the one that will always come back. Because they're going to go out and get more fish. You know why? Good boy, good girl, you're special. Now, if you ever figure out the trickle-down economic system that you're already in, by the way, and you've been in, you keep arguing about stuff that you're already in. You're in it already. They have you thinking you're discussing it, right? It's funny as hell. You're in it. You've been in it. And besides, they're telling you trickle. Who the hell is voting for somebody that says, I'm going to trickle something to you? Who the hell is voting for somebody that says, I'm going to trickle something to you? Anybody that's going to tell me anything that they're going to trickle tells me I got to wait for you? That's all trickle says to me. You want me to wait for you, and then you want me to vote for that. Let me get this straight. Hold on, here comes the trickle. Everybody get your tongues out. Yeah, let's vote for that system. Yeah, that's not psychotic. No, not at all. Yeah, mommies and daddies, yeah, they're in control of their own lives, and they can definitely teach you. Yeah, just stand under the gutter with your tongue out and wait for the trickle. The system that you're in, by the way, is called 1/3, 2/3. So let me just clarify it for everybody, because math is not your thing. At the end of the day, what you're doing, you can argue all you want. You go fishing. You fish for 3 fish. You give 2 to your boss. You bring 1 home to your family. That's your system. That's mathematically proven, by the way. That's not like a story. No, that's exactly what the system is. If you were real smart, you would realize the ones that are telling you not to raise taxes are the ones that have the most to lose. They're the ones that don't pay taxes. And then they have you clapping for them. People that are clapping are the ones that have to pay the taxes that they're not paying. And yet you're clapping. Now, what do you think your kids are going to think when they look back in retroactive and see that? They're going to start to wonder why I listened to anything that they said. Holy shit, how do I know what's real and what's not now? That's what you're setting your kids up to do, because you're doing stuff now that's going to be in retroactive for them for the rest of their life. You understand? So everything you're doing now is like, it's ridiculous, first of all, but I'm letting you know that it's not going anywhere. Like, just like that meeting, those psychotic predators that were up there, like, barking and growling and biting if they can get close enough because they're psychotic predators, that's never going away. In fact, you're going to be able to see that in their other stuff. In fact, you can put anybody in that position. You'll see right away it has nothing to do with Donnie. He's making it like it has to do with that guy, with Mike, right? Okay, put somebody else there. They'll attack that person. That's the part you don't understand. It has nothing to do with anything. None of it, because it's all psychological, where nothing has to match. And you people go, okay, as long as I don't have to do anything, and especially fight City Hall, I'm not doing that. I'm the one on the kind team. Well, you tell that to your kids. Look at it this way. Kind people don't need you to be kind to them. And evil people, kind people don't need you to be nice to them. If you're not going to get your hands dirty for your kids, then get the hell out of their way. The least they're provided is some tools that they can use for their own gathering. You can't correct their tools. Sorry. I know you want to control everything because you can't control your own life. That's why you want to control children. That's what I've noticed also my whole life, is that what the parents are doing, they have control now because they don't have control. So that's what they can control. So they do it like they know what they're doing, and they do it basically because they have the control. Because I can see that they don't know what the hell they're doing, because everything that you're doing is not teaching any of these kids anything. There's no openings. Everything is an answer. You people are doing their homework so they get higher grades on their project. Their project is for them to learn. It's their experience. It's not about a grade that somebody else is going to have an opinion of you about your kid, which is why you're doing the damn project. It's ridiculous. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's all about you, mommy and daddy. What people think of you. That's what your kids are for you. That's obvious. You want your kids to like you. That's very important to you. Right. You know why? Because it's about you. And by the way, if you think me telling you that, you can get rid of that. No. That's burning, baby. You'll never get rid of that, ever. You can't get rid of that. It's not possible. You're branded with, I don't give a shit. See, if you talk to people in Iceland, they'll tell you that they take care of their neighbors. Now, in the United States, well, divided states, or the ununited states, rather, well, they have a different perception. Like, you take care of yourself and everybody takes care of themselves, and then you just spread good news. Yeah, just say, hey, how's your day going? Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, no, they have an opposite opinion. And their shit works, by the way. Yeah, they actually take care of their neighbor. You know why? Because they get that they can't be happy if their neighbors aren't. In your case, they have you all chewing off your legs and everybody else's legs. So you're all attacking each other, and you're all right. Now, how are you all correct, and you're all losing all the time? How does that work in a logical world? How does that work? You're all never happy, but yet you're all correct. How? How does that work? Only in psychological. See? In psychological, everything goes. Everything matches, because nothing has to match. That's why you've been branded psycho. There's no more logic involved. You can't have a combination. You were confused. And con-science is the overall game, which they pronounce conscious. When does shus have anything to do with the word science? Now, that's so the psychos can read it. That's what a lot of your silent letters are, by the way. What do you think your grammar and spelling is? What do you think that garbage is? Huh? Did the animals do that? No, I'm sorry, you didn't. That's not how we spell rough. No. And by the way, that's not how you pronounce meow. No, yeah. This is why they would be lunch if they did that. If they were that stupid, they would be lunch. They have to live in logic 100% of the time to survive. That's why that's the operating system. Because the operating system is to survive. And in order to survive, you have to stay in inquiry. You must remain in inquiry. You have to. You don't even have that function available. How did you get all your answers if you don't have inquiry? You think you're going to inquire to the teacher in the front of the room? They don't know. They're looking at the same book you are. What do you think they know? They've been looking at the same book for 7 or 8 or 12 years that they've been teaching that 3rd grade class, and they still need the book. What is it that you think you're learning in that book that they haven't learned in all the years they've been teaching it? That they still need the book? Huh? Do you ever know what you're looking at? Ever? For me, I'll tell you what school is. First of all, I'll tell you one thing. ADD, that's a godsend. So they try to stifle it, by the way. You'll also notice that. You know why? Because they can't control that. They can't control ADD. They can't control the thought processing. It's just uncontrollable. But you learn how to use it all to your advantage. And they don't like that because they can't control it. They don't have you go into like class or here's a book you're going to read. I can't read books. My brain rejects the garbage. I don't want it. And if you give it to me, I'm going to punish you by having you read the same chapter over and over and over again. So just get it the hell out of here. Trust me, ADD is not a problem. It teaches you that we should be listening to our brains, but we are the result of our brains, not in control of them. See, I have a brain and I have a conscience, and then I have me, like a three-piece band. See, that's how it works for me. And I'm trying to introduce your brain to your conscience and your conscience to your brain, which currently, if you ask the psychological industry, they will tell you it doesn't exist. There's just a brain. And if you ask them about a conscience, they'll tell you, well, it's attached to something to the brain. It has something to do with the brain. We don't really know. It has something to do with the brain. That's not our department. You know what I'm saying? That's because it doesn't exist. Even if it had to do with the tea in China, wouldn't you be able to search it on their search site? Right. But they tell their own people it has to do with the brain. So that has them never inquire because that's not their department. You understand the scam? See, you think people are psychotic and unconscionable predators. No, organizations are too. That's how it works. Those people wind up running organizations. And then everybody under them winds up being carriers for their psychosis. Just look at Donnie. If they have a conscience, they're carriers. They're infecting everybody around them, including themselves. That's why they're there. That's the tool that they're used for, the carriers, to infect the infected, which happens to be them as well. The only person that's not is the unconscionable. It's like a pyramid of cancer of lava. Look at it like that. And you think you're going to stop the lava from flowing. Really? Well, it was flowing pretty heavy in that room at that meeting. That's all I can tell you. It looked like you all were running from the lava. And then more of them stood up. How many of them confessed, actually? That's your group of world destruction. They're confessing. Welcome to the research. You can look in all the retroactive, and they have to do this moving forward. They must. They're trapped outside of reality forever. And their number one goal is to keep you there in psychologic, outside of reality, where they have no options but to live there because they are psychotic beings. So everything that they do is psychotic. Everything they say is psychotic. Everything they do. So if they didn't create this psychotic world for you to live in, their world, which is what they did, then they would stand out like sore thumbs. See? They would stand out like sore thumbs. So they created psychologic, and you're living in their world now. Designed by psychosis, for psychosis. And you think it's home. Well, it's not my home. And it's not going to be any offspring of mine. So, Mueller, here in Towson, Maryland, USA, we don't just have a harem like that of victims, which is what you basically have. We have all the predators. These are prime, baby. All of these people. These are the prime people. Because this situation, they had to get other prime people to back their bullshit and fraud. See? So they had to keep going around the ladder of, what do you call it? Let me see, authorized, authority. Yeah, I call them predators that accept paychecks to prey on you, which you'll witness. And as a bonus, every person that's running for election this year, I already have their running mate, by the way. They've been pre-elected already. They all have the same exact running mate. Every single one of them. His name is James W. Holderness. That's your running mate. You should do some research because he's trying to steal my house through your system that you are telling these people that you're needed for. See, you're telling them that they need you, right? I'm showing you that they need you, and why? So much that you're going to have this running mate. Because you know what you're doing, right? Okay, so what's the problem? Now, if one of you would like Susan Selesky, no problem. Who wants Bradford G.Y. Carney? We can split them all up. How about Kathleen G. Cox? Huh? Paul J. Hanley? Huh? Judith C. Enzer? Huh? Leo Ryan Jr.? Huh? Dr. Kathleen Killeen? Huh? How about Robert Wayne Lazaro, a.k.a. the Mole? He's telling me to stop sending these people that are in charge of protecting my children, Leon W. Berg, the child best interest attorney, and Dr. Catherine Killeen, the key word is kill in there, and she's in charge of the custody evaluation stuff, And she's really in charge of destroying children, basically, and families, but that's beside the point. And I'm sending them loads of emails with attachments and stuff of evidence of Psycho Leski's actions repeatedly and never stops. They've been going on for years and years, and they're still going on while they're doing all this stuff. And they're investigating the schools, and all they're doing to all the schools is violating all the schools and all the teachers, which you'll see, just looking for dirt on me. And in all the investigations that they did, you know what they came up with? 0. And all the stuff they were given for Psycho Leski, which is crimes, local, state, federal, murder shit, you have no idea. All of a sudden, that stuff doesn't exist. Everything the kids were saying, no, what are you talking about? No, we don't hear anything. I have audio tapes from Alex's own journal. You know what I'm saying? And I sent them to him. My attorney's telling me, stop sending them this stuff. They think you're crazy. They're telling me, stop sending the people that are supposed to be taking care of my kids and make sure that the right thing happens. Stop sending them evidence that they're being abused because they're going to think I'm crazy. Do you understand? And then they had my son, Robert Wayne Lazaro. Then he called my elderly aunt in Pennsylvania and had her call me on the phone crying to stop sending him. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm sending evidence of my kids being abused. Anybody that's telling me that is a predator and he's on their team. What are you talking about? And she's still crying to me. That's you people. You people just listen to people that have a title. Oh, he's an attorney. He knows. No, that's how they abuse you. Because you're all trapped in these titles. Jesus Christ. If you could just pay attention to actions, the titles don't matter. See? The titles don't matter. What's the action going on? That's all that matters. But you have the title put you in a certain category right away. And then everything that happens, you think happens within that category that title put you in. The titles are used to abuse. That's what I've seen my entire life. Titles are there for one reason and one reason only. They're used to abuse. They can make you feel good. They can give you stuff without giving you more money. They'll give you a title. I've seen that time and time again. That is psychological warfare, as far as I'm concerned. Because that person didn't take that job to get a title. They got there because they have a family to feed, not your horseshit to take home. Listen, I'm in a bank a couple months ago, and the girl's telling me to leave feedback for her. I'm in a bank, and I'm looking at her, nice young girl, and I'm looking at her on my way out. And I'm like, feedback? Why do you need feedback? Well, this way, and she told me she gets something. I said, really? What are you're going to tell me to give you feedback so you get something? Don't you already have what you need? And she's looking at me. I said, what is it that you're going to get? So I asked her how long she's working. And she just started like a month ago. I said, this is what you do. Listen to me. I'm going to give you some advice. Go to your boss, and whatever they're telling you the reason is that you're doing this, that they're going to give you, tell them you already have it. You already have all that stuff. You are special. Isn't that why they hired you? And then see what your boss says. So I told her. You see, they always have you chasing rabbits. You see, but you don't understand. They'll take somebody from Harvard, right? Like CIA, NSA, KGB. They all do the same thing. These are alienation chambers. That's all they are. And it's so evident, it's ridiculous. Look, they're taking somebody from Harvard, right? And they're going to put them in one of those alienation categories. They call them, what do they call them? Pay grades. No, they're alienation grades is what they are. See? So why would you get somebody, the smartest person at Harvard, and stick them in any category? Does that make any logical sense whatsoever? Because basically you're telling him, I know what you know. Now, in my world, that's bizarre. If I hire somebody for a reason, I want to find out what it is. And I can't tell them what it is. They're going to have to tell me. How can I tell them? How can I put them in a category already? I'd be stamping in my own head. I'd be stupid as all get out. How is that going to be beneficial to me? Why would I hire that person if I'm going to tell him where he's capped? Or tell her where you're capped. Yeah, you're so smart, you're going to start in G12 instead of G9. Oh, really? But I'm in G12. You sure nobody in G13 uses? No, G12. Well, you don't know what I know. That's okay, G12. Do you understand? They're just taking you off the market. That's all they're doing. Sorry to break the news to you, because it so flies in the face of logic, it's bizarre. The fact that they don't take you in there and go, well, I hired you for this reason. This is why I hired you. Go in, go through the whole goddamn place. Let me know what your brain does, because that's why I hired you. But no, because the game is alienation. The opposite of that. That person is never going to be able to do that. That's how smart they are. And they went to Harvard, and that's why they're working for the NSA or KGB or CIA or any of these horseshit organizations. They don't even realize what they're doing. That's how smart they are. They don't even think to ask. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have confidence. The title doesn't give somebody confidence. Do you know what I'm saying? That's not how confidence works. It's something you have that you've built according to your surroundings and what you're dealing with, right? So that's just what it is. And whether you feel safe in your environment, that's what confidence comes from. It's not something you think about something else. But you're always in unknown. So you're never safe in your environment. You can't be safe in that environment that's designed so you don't feel safe. So you need. Why do you think they don't put money into education? Did you ever wonder why? They'll build bombs that they don't put money into education. Why? Because they know it's a waste of money. That's why. Why are they going to put more money into that it does what they wanted to do already? Why would they put more money into it? Everything you've gotten in school is in the direction of disconnecting your brain from operating, that you're not just at the effect of their stories. And kids, if any of your parents think they're right, I'll tell you what, it'll take me 2 minutes to turn them into chopped liver that came out of a blender. And I'm talking about the Harvard parents, the ones with the real good stories. Yeah, bring those to me, baby. Yeah, the ones that were so smart that they were abused and sold as horseshit so that they can buy that horseshit and sell that horseshit to other people as they go through life and call that success. Yeah, success? Yeah, you just go around abusing people with stories. It's great. It's unbelievable. Yeah, you don't have to do anything. No, you don't have to get your hands dirty. No, you just sell stories and pass stories around and you abuse people. That's how it works. Yeah, Harvard. Or you can go to Yale, which is, I guess, now that, George Jr. went there, I guess it's the kindergarten of those schools, but I don't really know how that works. But hey, send your donations. If that alone doesn't tell you what a joke the whole education system is, just with George Jr. and Harvard, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. When do you ever get the message that it doesn't matter? Because you can't stop and think. So you're trapped on this track such that you leave school and you feel worse if you don't go to college. That's how screwed you are. You're upset about the only chance you have of you. Okay? You're not programmed. No, not at all. No, you're upset that you can't experience shit. You want to sit in a classroom and get a certificate. Somebody else is going to give you a certificate. Somebody else that's in the front of the room, that's a repeater, because they have to have a book, otherwise they don't know, is going to tell you how smart you are. Really? Really? Is that how it works? And then you people think you're that smart. Really? Yeah, that doesn't work that way either. Actually, that's the opposite. Sorry, I had to break the news to you. You got to get your hands and feet and mind on something. That's how it works. You have to build. You have to create. Your brain doesn't operate any other way. Everything other than that goes into the imaginary section for sleep, for dreaming. That's what all your books are, by the way. They're in your dream state. You know what I'm saying? And the more data you have, the worse off you are. Because you don't need that stuff. And they've shown you that with computers. If you need it, you can hit it on a computer and get it. What do you have to store it all in your head for? What the hell kind of sense does that make to you? Tell me, please explain it to me. Explain that. Everything they're giving you is already on the computer. Why do you need it in your head? You don't processing anything in your head. I can guarantee you're not processing. I know you're not. If you think you are, I can prove you're not. And if you like to do it on the global stage, baby, you will be sorry. You're not processing anything. They're just giving you garbage because you can't process it. That was that math calculator that you got. Oh, that was your processing tool. The math? Yeah. Yeah, they circumvented that. Now they're just giving you garbage that you can't process. See? And that's why afterwards everybody says, well, you really learn on the job. Really? Because if you ask me, that's the only place you learn. So why after your parents get out of college and then say you really learn on the job, do they have you go back to college? Do they live in choice? Is that choice? Is that intelligence? The ability to learn? That doesn't sound like intelligent to me. That sounds like the opposite of intelligent. That sounds like repeating what doesn't work and having your kids do it. You know why? Because they're told that's what to do. And then you do it because you're told what to do. And then when you run into people that don't do what they're told to do, you think they're a problem. Right? You thought like Madonna when she came on the stage was a problem. You thought Cher was a problem. You think Lady Gaga, you thought Howard Stern's a problem. You thought anybody that is themselves, you have a problem with. You know why? Because you can't be that. That's why you have a problem with it. You can't be that. See? And you're upset about it. You know why? Because you think you're supposed to be that. No, they're supposed to be that. That's why they're that. You're supposed to be you. They don't want you to be them. You know what I'm saying? They want you to be you. So when they talk to you, they're talking to you, not you impersonating them. Look, I have the tools. That's all I can tell you. And if you're not going to ingrain these in your kid without your stories and without anybody else inserting their stories, because they're going to have recognition for actually who is trying to screw with their tools. Because those tools, I don't know if you notice it or not, but they're actually core tools. And that's hard for you to understand. But at this level of what I've taught you, but look at it this way. It doesn't matter. They apply to every being, period. That's how core they are. Okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the age is, the financial structure, nothing. It doesn't matter what the language is, has nothing to do with it. You put those words in another language, it won't matter what financial structure they're in. That shit works because that's a being. Before gender. That's where I operate. In the area that they tell you doesn't exist. That's where I operate. That's exactly where I operate. In the unknown zone and the forbidden zone by law by the United States of Psychosis. As the United States of Americans protect the United States of Psychosis in thinking they're free. But you're not even free enough to know you. And you have Vlad over in Russia telling you that. How you're being abused by your own people. Now, how's that going to work? How's it going to work when Vlad in Russia have the trust of the American people because these slugs keep abusing you and he's going to use that against you as well. And he also has Snowden over there. So he seems like the good guy. If you want the truth or some kind of fairness, you got to go to Russia now. That's what he's showing you. Do you understand? While the people here are yelling, national security. Now that's psychotic security. They're their own security and they use you to do it. So when they yell national security, that's called psychotic says national security. See? There's a psychotic says phrase that has to go in front of these things. See? And that's how you know what's really going on. Right? Very simple. Because did you feel threatened? No, they're just telling you a story. A story of the guy that told you that they're the ones that are violating you. And then somehow you sided with your abusers. And he's the problem. Really? No. He was smart enough to know that he's dealing with psychotic whack job and he had to get the hell out of here. Why? Because he tried to inform people. He tried to. And he kept getting nowhere. Why? What he didn't know is he kept running into unconscionables. And all they do is protect themselves. And that's why they're in those positions. Do you understand? So he was running into unconscionables. The same thing happened with Leah Remini. She doesn't know where she is either. She has no idea. She's going to constantly run into walls. She doesn't know why. She has no idea. No idea what she's dealing with. I know. Her stuff is inside of mine or yours. And so is Snowden. They're just puzzle pieces inside of this main puzzle. But they think it all exists with what they have. No, that's not even close. That's not even close, baby. This is like a game, the game that they're playing. I don't know about here, but I'm talking about Vlad. Okay? Because over here, they already lost to him. Because he's already posted what is being done to you here by the people that you're expecting to protect you. But he's also showing that they're protecting you, but no, they're actually going after anybody that tries to protect you. See? So he's posting the results of my research. What I can't even get to you. He's doing it. So he's gaining your trust. And the slugs that are in control of you, like the Donnies and stuff, and all those other people standing up in that meeting, yeah, it's them, baby. Yeah, let them try to talk you out of it, but they're going to have to keep repeating this for the rest of their life. Booyah! Anyway, see, that's what recognition does. That's why you don't have it. That's why they took math away. Because the math is required, by the way. Math is required. You have to calculate all this shit to get the recognition. You don't just, it doesn't just show up. It's not, you don't get it. You have to obtain it. It takes some work. You have to have an open mind, first of all, to let something in and stop having the answers already. How do you have the answers when everything around you is a mess and yet you complain? Wouldn't that make you responsible? If you have the answers and yet you complain, who are you complaining to? Yeah, that's psychological. Yeah. See, everything you do is opposite of yourselves. Nothing you people do, and I've been watching you for 60 years now, or 55 actually, since I've understood this stuff. And that's all I've seen. And I am not kidding. I do not over-exaggerate. I don't exaggerate. I'm always under-exaggerating. Trust me, I don't over-exaggerate. I don't know from that stuff. Is there anything extra? It's not going to be something I owe. It will be in my pocket. I've always been that way. I don't bullshit myself. Look, the way I see it, I'm not the person to bring this stuff to you. Okay? In fact, I know that I'm not. It's not my thing. That's not what I do. I'm bringing this to you from a technical aspect. You need it delivered in a different space. I can't provide that space, but I know who is supposed to. Okay? That I know. I'm sure of it. And I can't tell you. But I know. And you should know that it wasn't a choice. It's nothing that I chose from. Just so you know in advance, it's not one of those eeny, meeny, miny, moes or something that somebody or someone was different than someone. No, it was not that at all. Now, I did that kind of stuff for a couple of years. And I came to the wrong conclusion. Tell you the truth. Totally wrong conclusion. See? Because certain things just are, and they just work, and you just have to hang out for a while. And other things get put into place, and then other things show up because of that. See? That's what things do. That's how they work. But you have to have the tools that you're gathering. Otherwise, other things aren't going to show up because there's nothing for them to stick to. You understand? So you're stuck with answer relay. You don't have like an inventory of sticky notes. You know what I'm saying? You just don't. You have answers and relays, and you may have summaries of somebody else's answer. It's nonsense. Why are you even wasting your time talking about it? Go do it. Why are you sitting in history class? Go the hell over to Rome. It's a freaking 5-hour ride. You'll be there before school's over. You see, but then you're going to get your hands and feet and smell, and that ain't good for them. No, that's not. No, sorry. A hell of an idea, but nah. No, but you know what? We got a nice computer you could see Rome. Heck, we even have a street view. You'll feel like you're there. In fact, we'll convince you that you were there. No? Try on these glasses then. Look, you don't ever have to go anywhere. We just deliver everything to you because you're special. Listen, at some point, you're going to find out the one that's going to handle this, not me. It's not me. At some point, you're going to find out who it is. That person doesn't even know yet, by the way. Just so you know. Patience is important if you're gathering stuff. If you're not, you don't have anything, so you're just always in a hurry to get something. Listen, you already have everything that you need. You don't need anything from outside of you, especially the stories. I can get you as close as possible without being abused. But you're going to feel abused because you've been abused your whole life. You're going to feel like you were raped because you were, basically, just not physically, but worse. Because physically you would have been able to deal with it, right? No, this is psychological warfare since you were children. And I'm talking to your parents and grandparents. These people are just continuing the violence. My goal is to do one thing and one thing only. To get you to choice. And I'm not talking about what you consider choice now, like a hospital menu that they give you. You go, oh, look at my choice. Now, that's not choice. That's choice from somebody else's demand. But that's what you all consider choice. That's not choice. I'm going to show you what choice looks like because we're going to put together a society, 100 people, me 50 and you 50. Each of you are going to do 50. But there's only 100. So there's my 50 and your 50. So there's two societies, but you can all have your own 50. And that's going to be fun. But don't worry. You don't have to pick any Donnies because you're going to start with 4 on your side. And the ones that like Donnie, well, they're going to be really happy then, aren't they? Right? 4% unconscionables. If there's 100 people, 4 of them are unconscionables. You're getting them because I know what I'm doing. I'm not getting one even. Not even close to one. In fact, my team is going to look way different to you. Oh, and by the way, I also know that all of you are going, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Why don't you call the APA and ask them what team they will put together? Go ahead. Call them. Call Harvard. Say, Harvard. You got 50 people. Who you putting? See what they say. Let's see what they come up with. They'll just have people that are going to go around and abuse people. They're the winners to these people. See? That's what they're going to pick. People that abuse people. Because they train people to abuse people. Just like the law school over here, Baltimore School of Law. They know that 1/3 of their students are there to commit crimes using the law. They know that. So they're educating predators and getting paid for it and then sending them off into your society. They know that already. They tell the students that 1/3 of you are going to use this to commit crimes. Now, if you thought that the APA was involved in your life in any way, do you think that they would be involved there? Like, wait a second. These are crazy people. We're in charge of crazy. Why are we going to let them get educated and then sent out to prey on everybody? That's your legal system, by the way. How is that going to happen? Well, that's because the APA is, evil empire, who is also shielded from federal suits. Or should I say, like the rest of you, from reality. Listen, the only thing I can tell you is, to the extent that you accept what you are, who you are, and everything that you have done, you're going to punish yourself. Because nobody else gives a shit. In order for you to not be controlled by others, you have to control yourself. There's no automated system. It doesn't work like that. It really doesn't. I mean, you're going to have to not give a shit what other people think. Now, that doesn't mean you don't take their opinions and suggestions if you ask for it, but you're not controlled by it. There's a difference. If you're controlled by it, then you're not taking anything. They're giving you something. But you need to be in a position where you're requesting something, or when they give you something, it's a request and you're going to do something with it with what you already have. You just can't take their stuff and relay it. That's not going to work. You haven't experienced anything at all. Nothing. Because you live in fear. Listen, when we were kids, I grew up in Philly. Okay. So we already came with a spine in Philly. Okay. Because Philly is not like it is here. Trust me. We used to go out in the pouring rain to ride bikes. You know what I'm saying? Just for the fun of it. Because it was different. You know what I'm saying? We didn't come in with our sneakers a little wet and we stepped in the park. And you people, don't fall down. Don't get hurt. Have you noticed that you have an onboard repair system? In fact, you even have your own pharmacist. You got your motor oil. What else do you need? Have you figured out your biggest downfall yet? As a being? Do you know what it is? You have to recharge. You don't have a battery pack. You have to recharge. You can't just switch batteries. No. That's the newer models. You're the old model. You have to sleep for 8 hours. You can't just switch a battery pack. But you think you're a better model than the ones that you're building. You haven't realized there's a reason that you're building them. Now, are you going to build something that's going to be less than you could do? Why would you do that? When I was about 12 years old, must have been 12 or 13, I knew right there, it just flashed in my head instantly. And I've told so many people this since. The way this is going, and I'm going back 45, 50 years almost, I envisioned it to be like this. Everybody was going to get a robot to build. This is exactly how I envisioned it when I was a kid. This is what was going on. I envisioned everybody was going to get a robot to build, and they were going to build a robot. And then when they turn it on, the first thing the robot says is, "You're fired." Now, that was when I was a little kid. Now I'm looking around, and I'm going, wait a second. What is actually happening here? Just like when I heard the word wireless, I knew instantly that every single bit of data that's ever flowing in the air is going to be captured. Every bit of it. So when you all found out about Snowden, I had already told a bunch of people about all the data stuff years before, that it was ridiculous to think otherwise. And you people never even conceived of it, let alone anything else. It was like, to me, it was like, how could that not happen? Are you kidding me? There's no way they're letting that stuff fly by. Not a chance in hell. Listen, I can show you where you watch shows like 60 Minutes or 2020 or whatever those shows are, and they have an FBI guy on there, and the guy is lying to you. He's completely lying to you. I'm telling you. I can point it out. It's complete bullshit. Why is he on that kind of show anyway in the first place? What the hell does an FBI guy need to be on one of those shows for? Why do you even need to see the stuff of a murder that happened 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 8 years ago? Why? To keep you busy with something you can't do anything with. It's not applicable. Therefore, you may have it. You can't do anything with it? How much would you like? Here's the thing that the media didn't figure out. There's something called false claims. And well, that's all they all are, which is a federal offense. Want me to tell you something else you all don't know? Let me tell you. And your politicians aren't going to know this either because they don't process anything. You're ripped off all the time and you don't even know it because you can't quantify and consolidate and do math. So they hand you something, it has numbers on it, you don't know what it means. And if it doesn't add up, you don't know that it doesn't add up. So let me give you an example. So I get this marijuana container and it says an eighth, right? But then it says 3.5 grams. Well, that's not an eighth. See, an ounce is 28.4. Yeah? Right? Well, that comes out to 28 grams, not 28.4 grams. You understand? That's not an eighth. That's not correct even in basic math. That's wrong. And they have this stuff printed everywhere. And their correct amount would be 3.55. So they didn't round it off to 3.6. No, they shorted you to 3.5. Is that a big deal? Well, let's put it this way. It's 1.4%. Right? So basically what they're saying is, listen, you give me $1,000, I'm going to give you $986 back. How many times would you like to do that? Or you give them $100, they'll give you $98.60 back. Now you're going to start buying the product because they already took the 1.4% out by you not getting it in the content. See? You know what I'm saying? Now, do any of you know any of that? No. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you something else that's going to happen. Remember the Tylenol stuff that went on? That same thing's going to happen with the pot industry. Do you know that? No. How do I know that? I don't know. I just know. Because to me, it's all obvious. Because there's jars that are open and there's crazy people. So you have stuff open. Somebody's going to do crazy shit. And you're all going to wait until somebody dies. That's what we do. Because to live and learn would require intelligence, which is the ability to learn. That doesn't exist. That's why they keep repeating everything. Stop accepting answers. When somebody gives you an answer, ask them a question. How did you come to that answer? Then watch what happens. That'll give you the strength of the answer that you're going to pass around. You see, the way I've always looked at it is, my name's going to be on it. See, obviously, you're not attached to anything because you just keep passing around garbage. So that tells me what you think of you. Understand? I don't have to know anything else about you. You don't give a shit about you, but you want other people to. But all you do all day long, every day, is tell me you don't give a shit about you. You want other people to, but you don't. Welcome to Psychological. Did your APA ever discuss that with you? No, because that would direct you to them and how they have you so diluted and convoluted via confuse. You've been fused, baby. That doesn't mean all of you. There's a lot of you that spent your life on the ground. There's a lot of you that spent your life in inquiry. You probably looked at it like upset. And a lot of it was. Guess what? You're the kings of the mountain. You know why? Because you don't need the mountain. That's why. And if you need the mountain, then I'm not talking to you. Listen, any building of anything requires errors. That's just how it works. It is required. Errors. It has to happen. See? That's the whole point of building. That's why there's the word building, not just like have. No, you have to build it. That doesn't mean that everything always fits. That means that you have to build it and you'll see what happens while you're building it. It's an ongoing thing. You just want the answer like it's built, painted, and used. They're just going to send you a picture. Hey, what the hell? Here's my theory. If you didn't build it, shut up about it. Until then, go buy some wood and nails and a hammer, some paint, and do something. Create something. At the very least, you'll create a mess. And guess what that mess will stand for? Something that you know about you. That's not somebody else's story. No, that's you that made that mess. That has more information in it than anything you're going to ever hear from anybody else. Ever. But you look at the mess like, I don't want to bother with it. No. That's telling you what your skill sets are and where or if or what you decide to do with it, if anything. But you're in choice at that point. When somebody hands you an answer, what kind of choice do you have? Nothing. You can either accept it, which you don't know where it came from, or accept it and relay it, or reject it. But either way, you don't have any idea about it. So whatever you're doing is basically mental masturbation. And if you really want to have a great time, you're going to pass it on to others as if it's yours. Someday maybe they'll have an opportunity where you can engrave your name on their stories. Who knows? Listen, you're programmed for excitement, but it's not yours. It's somebody else's action, somebody else's experience. You're watching them. That's great if you plan on relaxing, if you plan on enjoying. But you're doing things in your life that you think are your things that you're going to take with you, that you're going to build into different things that you're going to be able to use. No, none of it is. And all I'm going to do is get your recognition of that, which is going to have you not looking good to you. I'm telling you that right now. If it did, you wouldn't need me. I wouldn't be here. I'm not here because I want to be. I didn't choose this path. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I choose for somebody to traffic my children. Yeah, I chose for that. Yeah, that's what I did. I chose them to steal all my money, like $750,000. Yeah. And now they're trying to steal my house. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm sitting in my house. I don't have heat on. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. No, I'm doing this because I'm doing this. That's why. And let's get one thing straight. I am not doing this for the parents or the adults. We're the ones who wrecked the joint or allowed predators and psychotic beings to wreck the joint or convince us that we weren't wrecking the joint. The one thing you need to know about unconscionables is their main trick is this. There's only two things that make them different, like Adolf Hitler and Charles Manson and the other extremely high-level unconscionables. There's only two things that make them different. They're not somebody's crazier than the other. No, none of them have a conscience. So there is no level that they have. It doesn't work that way. Either you have it or you don't. So they don't. So they're just pricks, right? So what would be the difference? I'm going to tell you what makes them different. Two things. Two things that they walk around the earth with, which they become different. Preference, opportunity. Preference, opportunity. Preference, opportunity. See? That's why you have, for instance, you have the priests with the boys, because that's their opportunity. Where are they going to go? They're already there. You know what I'm saying? That's what that is. That's why a lot of them even take those positions, because that's their opportunity. That's their preference. Now they need the opportunity filled. See? So that's how it works. So when you have child predators, that's their preference or opportunity they made available. When you have these other predators, like a rapist, their preference is women. You have other people that have preference in robbing banks. These are preferences and opportunities. That's all they are. It's not all these different things that they set up to have you all running in different directions. Do you understand? When their place to go is down below the ground, baby, before stories. Before stories. Before stories. Where there's not even gender. Where you can't even discuss gender when it comes to actions. It's just actions. Nothing else matters. Their stories are only going to be there to steer you away. You understand? Because truth just provides truth. Bullshit provides stories. And that's always proof when you say, show me. And that'll be followed up by birdseed, baby. And just be prepared. They're going to attack your conscience. You don't trust me? I'm telling you now. I'm just letting you know now. You think it's going to end? No, they have to attack. Oh, they're going to go after your conscience. It's going to be and you just have to keep two words in your mind. Just two words. Show me. Show me. Show me. Doesn't matter what the psychotic whack job says. Show me. And you keep saying that. I understand. I hear what you're saying. Show me. Yeah. Good. Show me. Blah. Show me. Over there? Yeah. Show me. That's all. That's all you have to do. That'll be the last interview you ever do with them. See? But your media, they want to play tiddlywinks instead of showing you what you're really dealing with so that they can have another interview so that they can abuse you further, to abuse you to watch your commercials and shit to get nothing of value. Zero. But more stories to pass around. See? They're not giving you anything. They're not providing a tool that you can use to recognize your surroundings such that they removed your entire conscience and any relation or any stretch of the imagination that won't even exist. Okay? You're in control? Really? Well, I filed a $1,100,000,000 action against the American Psychological Association, and as the title, World Logical Association. Now, have you heard anything? Because it details all the abuses, what they do. There's like 16 videos full, and there's over 11,000 pages. And you haven't heard a damn thing, huh? Isn't that interesting? Wow. Pretty cool. Here's what I can tell parents, and I can tell everybody else. If your kids do what you do because you do it, you failed. If they do it because they decided, amongst other things, that that's their preference, that's different. That's not what happens. They do things because you do it, because they follow you. Stop having them follow you. They need to be with themselves. They need to understand them. They need to know them, their parts, and their operations of those parts before you send them out into the world. They have everybody ignoring everything, and in case you get curious, well, we just remove the shit. So, have a nice day. Bye. Say hi to Psychoville. Just so you know, there's over probably 25 hours of these audios. Then there's probably, 4,000 pages of notes and billboard kind of written things. It's all golden information. And then there's all the DVDs. The DVDs contain fraud, the oversight commissions, fraud from all these judges and these different branches of fraud, from district to circuit to appellate. They're all fraud grommet factories to allow predators onto the system and to incarcerate or punish a conscience. That's all they do. They need to increase their numbers. That's what they were doing at that meeting. But now they're all confessing, and they got to get you to ignore that. Yet they're going to have to force themselves to not repeat what they must repeat because of what they are, which is lies to everybody. So they have to redirect. So they're going to tell you that something else is the problem, but they're not going to be able to stop doing that. Do you understand? So even if you let them off the hook, they can't stop doing it, and everybody around you is going to see that. See, and they're going to look at you and go, you're voting for this slug? All he keeps doing is what predators do. All he keeps doing is bobbing and weaving and ducking when you ask them a simple question. Can you tell me the answer? They never give you that. That's because they're thugs. That's why. See? And if they don't answer you, but they seem to have answers when they want your votes. All of a sudden they get answers. Why? Because it's of nothing of substance. You're not questioning them of something they did. They're talking about virtual bullshit. Well, they can have all the answers you want of virtual bullshit. See? That's where psychological comes in. You don't have to actually have anything, and you never actually have to produce it. You just have to produce stories that people like and they feel good about, which means you have to lie to them. Now, are these slugs going to tell you that? No, they're just going to keep lying to you. Look what happens when Bernie Sanders tries to tell you the truth. You attack the guy. He's trying to tell you, listen, it's going to be worse for him if you do what he says. Do you understand? Literally. He will take a hit. If you do what he says, he'll take a hit personally. Donnie's telling you the opposite. Drop taxes. He doesn't have to pay any taxes, which he doesn't pay anyway. And then you want to pay the taxes. But if he paid his taxes, you wouldn't need to pay any of yours. That's why they all get you to tell everybody to lower taxes. Lower taxes. They would have to pay millions. You have to pay 1,000. You think they're lowering the taxes for you? No, that's a con. That's all that is, a con. They're doing that, and they don't want to be even paying the taxes. Why do they do that? Because this way you can afford to pay the taxes. So if they lower the taxes, you can afford to pay it, and they don't have to pay any. Because otherwise, if they paid the taxes, you wouldn't have to pay a nickel. Do you think that if Donnie put in $50 million a year that he owed for all the crap, and everybody did that, do you actually think that you'd have to put in your $3,000? Really? No. You wouldn't need it. Unless they're out there siphoning it through like they do now, which is what they do. But you need a conscionable world, not these psychotic people. really bad. So you got to get rid of them by the conscience, unconscious. You got to get them out. You can't talk to them. Bye-bye. And everything that they've done was under fraud. Just as they're sitting there convincing you that it wasn't. That too is fraud, trying to protect their fraud. Understand how it works? They're trapped outside of reality for a life. They can't get back. They've never been in reality. So they have to force everybody else to live in that space. That's what psychologic is. Okay? It's called the unknown. That's why you're always upset about something, somewhere. That's why people are not happy. That's why you're walking around thinking you have to tell people to be happy. Oh, be kind. Be happy. No, that doesn't work that way. You go to Iceland, see if they walk around telling people to be happy. No. That's just what they are because they give a shit about themselves and others. But you're programmed to think that you give a shit about others while you're beating each other up. You see, I have fun with these people that hassle and harass people, these people that yell and they know and, you know, the ones, you know, that complain about a contract that they can't even pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? I have fun with those people, and you can too. All you have to do is not follow their birdseed and ask them to detail what they're saying. Could you detail that for me? Because I don't really understand. So you tell me how you got to that specifically, and they'll look at you like, huh? Yeah, they'll be done heckling, promise. They won't heckle about that anymore. No, because you nailed them on that. Right? Because they don't really know anything about anything that they complain about, because that's all they do is throw out shit. Right? They're cancer factories. That's what they do. They birdseed manufacturing companies. They're birdseed manufacturing companies. They just throw out bullshit to keep everybody running around talking about nonsense so you can't participate in your own life. You have to run around chasing their birdseed and bullshit. And I'm telling you, you can recognize them just by the people that throw out birdseed, because who else would do that? See, it's a game of heads, evil wins, tails, you lose. That's what birdseed is. It doesn't matter what it is. If somebody insults you nationally, right? And they made it up completely, because this is what birdseed is. If somebody insults you nationally and they made it up, can you possibly win? Is it possible? The best you're going to do is make it not true. So you're going to have to go through all that shit. You're going to make it not true, and it's still going to stick with some people. Right? And you didn't do anything. You were just sitting in your living room, and somebody threw out some horse shit, right? And the other person, what do they have? Well, the worst they could do is nothing, because they're unconscionable and they don't give a shit. And the best they could do is have it stick. See? And that's your life. That's what they do in their negotiations, by the way. They raise stuff and they just go in there fighting because they know, and then they're going to use the word compromise. Well, they don't even understand what that word means. Trust me. So when they say the word compromise, that's a hook. They don't need anything. They're handling, and they're using a conscionable word to do it. That's a conscionable word. And I hear unconscionable using conscionable words. It's the funniest thing in the world. It's like, what? It's like them saying, yeah, that's disrespectful. Oh, really? Oh, I see. Raping people without them knowing it throughout their entire lives, including your children and your spouses, that's not disrespectful. Calling Donnie, that's disrespectful. Okay, I understand. Right. Okay, well, I hope you enjoy your titles. Anyway, let me tell you what titles have always been to me. They control you by telling you what to be controlled by. I don't know. When you go to college, you have to take these courses. You have to have certificates. You have to get somewhere. Is there a course for vice president? No? How come? You mean you don't need that educational book? There's no book on it? Really? Wow. Why are there no books for those things? I don't understand. How does that work? Huh? There's no classes for that? Really? That's surprising. And yet the day that they step in that office, you think they got something. All of you. With the title. That's what you people think. They haven't even found the seat yet. And you people think they know something already. Are you kidding me? Listen, a president goes into that White House, a conscionable one. I promise you that Barack Obama probably spent the first week in shock. Just in shock. Like, holy shit, because he was saying stuff that he never knew existed even. And he was already in the system, and he still didn't know any of this stuff existed. I know he was in shock. I don't know what it is, but I know what it is. Ain't stuff that he ever saw before, and he thought before that he knew, because he already knew. Ask him. And then you find out what you don't know when? After the fact. After he's in the office. See? And then all of a sudden he's going, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. And then he's basically surrounded and handcuffed. And he didn't realize that either. They're going to change stuff. No, you're not. They have all their slime stuff cemented in there. And you're trying to put patchwork on the stuff. That place needs to be gutted. You understand? You can't fix that White House. It has to be gutted. The laws, gut them. You don't need all these things. Did they need them back then? Why do you need them now? All you need is humanity laws. You don't need all the bullshit stuff. You don't need any tax. A certain percentage, everybody pays next. You don't need all those forms. That's all bullshit. It costs more money to do that bullshit, okay, than they're collecting. It's bullshit. You just say a percentage, and you could do that very easily. Whatever the budget is, you could take what they make, and you could do the percentage very easily, but they make it complicated. See? They make it to all these rings and rangs and and by the time you get done, you can't even look at the budget and know what the hell it says, as opposed to going, this is how much we need. This is how much the gross is in the United States. This is the percentage we need to charge. Have a nice day. Oh, you want instructions on how to build the wall for free? Labor? Yeah, it's not hard. I told people this years ago. Make a sign. Who wants to build a wall? And write it in Spanish. And then on the bottom you write, and vetting services. And they'll build the wall. And that's their vetting services. Then they can come to America and Donnie can stop crying and then you can send Donnie over there. Listen, they always cry the same horse shit. But if you ever ask him a question, they don't have the answer. I don't have to ask them a question. I can just say it to you and you'll realize that it's bullshit. But you don't know this until I give you the recognition. And then when you look back, you'll go, yeah, that is all bullshit. Yeah, it is. Right? They complain that Mexicans are taking their jobs from farmers, right? They were complaining, right? Yeah. So ask them, please bring the person that went to a farm that didn't get a job because it was a Mexican there. Bring that person to me. And then you'll find out what's really going on. See, that's just some people say stuff. That's all that is. There's some people say, and they just add titles to it. It's all bullshit because they don't actually have anything. Zero. Ever. That wall is for inside. They never build walls to keep people out. That's bullshit. That's the same bullshit that Leah Remini bought at Scientology. You know what I'm saying? She actually thought they're building a wall to keep people out. Ask her. She even thinks that now. Oh, originally it was built to keep people out, but now it's built to keep them in. No, Leah, it was always to keep them in. Leah, wake the hell up. They were sending you out to recruit people. Why would they build a wall to keep them out? They're just alienation tools. Everything is an alienation tool. I don't care what it is. Your education system is an alienation tool. They're alienating you from inquiry. I've worked with kids from Europe, and I can tell you firsthand, there's no match. It's not even close. It is not even close. They actually add to a project. Here, they just follow directions. That's it. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. That's it. Done. Yeah, it's like the memorization test. They taught you to memorize shit. Why? Because you're not going to have any use for it afterwards. That's why. So why are you learning it in the first place? Well, that's the whole point. The whole point is to keep you busy. So you don't actually learn anything. See? Because you actually need your senses to do that. And if they keep you in a room, well, they're not exactly operating. What's operating is Storyland. Kids, listen. Your parents complain about what they do. They're trapped. Okay? They've been abused. Plain and simple. Not their fault. They couldn't do anything about it. No more than that guy, Michael Cohen, could. You can't. It's not possible. It's out of your realm of perception. So out that I can't even get it into your realm. Okay? Because you already know. So you're protecting your abusers all the time. I'm telling you that your parents couldn't have known unless they're unconscionable. It's not possible. You need to make sure, because you're going to be the adult here, I promise you. I'm not joking. You're going to be the adult here. You got to make sure that they understand that nobody knows. Because if you can't do that, they're going to keep dragging you down the wrong road. Okay, so you need to forgive them. I'm telling you what you need to do. I'm telling you what you need to do. If you just sit there as a child, it's not going to work. They need you to forgive them because that's the problem that they're going to have. Because they've been telling you this stuff and it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So they're trapped, but it's not their fault. But they're trapped. So they're not going to walk out by themselves because they're trapped. you're going to have to help them out. And then they can help you. Okay? That's how it's going to work. I'm telling you. That's how it's going to work. You need to play a part in your parent's role anyway. Because as I learned, you can learn something from the smallest child. And that is more than true. In fact, I learned when I learned something from a child, I was getting what was so, at least. From adults, I'm getting stories mixed in, and I never know what the hell to do with that crap. So I ask a question, they don't know, junk. The gold for you is the source. It's very rare these days. Very rare. The news people don't do anything. They just read off a monitor. They're drones. They're telemarketers is all they are. See? So when you have a source in front of you of whatever it is, that is not normal these days. It's just not. Nothing comes from source. So that's why when you have these things like these concerts or whatever, you have a source entertaining you. You're not getting that anywhere else. You're going to have a radio after that. Or you're going to have a thing. You're not going to actually have the source sitting there. You're not going to get that from anything. You should take advantage of that because that's what it is. And that is not often in your life. You can do much less with stories and more of that stuff. That's why they always wanted to get rid of art when I was a kid. That's why they always wanted to get rid of gym. Anything that your senses are touching, that's what they're getting rid of. They're not getting rid of the garbage in the books. No, they were never getting rid of that stuff. No, they're going to get rid of the stuff that you touch, the stuff that you can control, the stuff that builds inside of you, like physical fitness and art. Yeah, they'd rather have you have trigonometry, not the math that they skipped you past, the stuff that you really need to stay there. Even if you're in third grade math until you're 20, it doesn't matter. That's all you're going to need. If you leave there, it's over, baby. Remember the whole thing, no student left behind? What do you think that was? All they do is con and scam, not left behind. No, they're just going to push you through. That's what that was. See, you never listen to what they're telling you, ever. That's not what they're doing. It is what they're doing, but not with the same scene as you think it is. See, there's two roads. There's always at least two that I know of, which tells me there's probably a lot more, but I know of two personally that I watch all the time. And I watch all of you on one of them, and I watch them on both. See? And you're waiting for them to tell you about this other road. That's not going to happen. They're telling you, but in confession form. And that's what I've been doing for 8 years. And if you could get somehow that I can see my daughter, that would be great. Because the psychotic judge, Judah C. Enzer, said that in order for me to even apply for modification of their fraud and abuse to my kids, that I had to pay Dr. Catherine Killeen her $50,000 fraud bill for child evaluations, which nationally is somewhere between $3,000 and $7,000. Okay. And she estimates at 10 to 13, gives you a bill for $50,000 and then quits for non-payment. You understand? Psychosis. Guess who else has $50,000 bills? Her husband too. Look at that. They're in the same company. That's their business. Abuse. See? And the APA, by the way, has all of this stuff. And they said something. Oh, yeah, that's under our ethical guidelines. Yeah, the same exact thing. It is under their ethical guidelines. You just don't know what their ethical guidelines are. And that's how they do everything. There's two roads. They're telling you the truth. They're just not telling you on which road it lies. That's the game. See? They're telling you the truth. You're just left with the perception that they know you're left with. And that's false. And by the way, you'll be able to see all of this stuff on your own, on the fly. It'll take you at least 40 or 50 or 60 hours to go through this stuff. But hey, you know, there's no credits. We don't give any certificates. We don't have any trophies. None of that stuff. All you get is what I got. And that's what you're going to get. You know what that is? You. Because that's all you need. And if you actually accept anything else, well, then you're actually rebuilding and unbuilding. Now, if you think when you get down to you're going to like everything you see, I think you're going to be foolish. No, you're not going to. But somehow you already are that way, but you want everybody else to think of you differently than you actually think of yourself. It's kind of weird, no? Yeah, that's psychological shit. Logical is just what's so. Okay? And once you realize that you're in control of you won't really give a shit about them. That's how you'll know. And you'll do stuff for you. period. And if they like it, they like it. And if they don't, they don't. You ever hear the saying, you can't control other people? Yeah. You believe that, right? Yeah. Ask mommy and daddy. They'll tell you, yeah. So why do you allow other people to control you? Who doesn't love Reality Boulevard? You understand? I can do this with every single thing in your life that you think is real. Because none of it is. Because it's all psychological. None of it is grounded in reality. Zero. So I can do that with everything in your life. You pick it unless you're somebody that went through life gathering experiences, unless you're an artist, unless you're somebody that had their feet on the ground, unless you were somebody that was in inquiry, especially into themselves. Those are the people that you want to follow. Those are the ones that have more information than you'll ever have. Okay? But you want to be you first, and then you want to take some advice from those people. You know what I'm saying? Follow their direction, but it's got to be you with you, and then you take some advice, and then you have to go. But you have to pick who you take the advice from. Don't take advice from people that you want to do what they're doing, or because they're wearing something that's cool. That doesn't work like that. I'm going to give you some advice because I had to switch some of the language that's used as a default. And I think I've got this one nailed down pretty good. Okay, and this will easily define the difference between logic and psychologic. One is an action and one is a story that anybody can fill in anything with. And if you rely on that story, how much chance do you have of any control as opposed to you relying on an action that somebody did, as opposed to a story that they're telling you, right? But when you find a mate, you go by stories. So I'm going to give you one tool that I made up actually that I think will be very helpful for everybody. And by the way, opposites attract is bullshit. That's what predators tell you, because who the hell would want to marry them in the first place, right? So they have to sell you that opposites attract. That's how they mate, because opposites don't attract. They just don't. That's not how it works at all. It really isn't. When you're a child, did you go up and play with a kid that was the opposite of you? No, you weren't attracted to opposite. Now that's a sale, is what that is. That's a sale. Okay. But this is the thing you have to remember. Here's the tool. Actions, not stories, right? Actions you want, not stories. Hobbies, not interests. Hobbies, not interests. Interest is one of those words that psychological uses that doesn't say anything. It doesn't say a damn thing. All it is a story. A hobby is an action, something somebody's doing. Everybody's selecting people according to interests. Interests are just stories. Forget about interests. All you want to know is, what are their hobbies? What do they actually do? Not what they're using to sell. See? That's what people use to sell themselves. I like this. Do you? I like that. Do you do it? No. Okay, next. You understand? All you want to know is what the actions are. And if you want to find a mate, you better have those actions in common. The stories aren't going to work. That's the problem. Because you're marrying somebody on the story side. That will never work. You have to have commonality. Opposites do not attract. That is bullshit. Bullshit. That's how the evil people and the not nice people find somebody that they can abuse close by. That's all that is. Okay? Because if you're a nice person, well, if you logically think of something, do you want to get involved with somebody who's not nice? Well, opposites attract. So if you go with that system, well, if you're nice, well, you're going to pick somebody who's not nice, and that's going to work. No, that doesn't work. No, that doesn't create balance. That creates chaos. Where you would have had balance if you got somebody like you. You know what I'm saying? They only create chaos. That's why they sell you all that bullshit. The APA is telling you that. Yeah, opposites attract. Yeah, who the hell would marry them? If opposites then attract. See how it works? Yeah. Hobbies, not interests. You have to make sure that they actually do it and enjoy it. Not do it because you want to do it. No, that's not the same. Because that will fade also, and then you'll be upset. Okay? Stop bullshitting yourself. See? And by you trying to sell yourself to somebody else that you're not, is nothing more than you bullshitting yourself. You're not bullshitting them. I don't know where you're getting your system from, but I see it as you're bullshitting yourself and then you're going to blame them. You see, I think first dates should all be in sweats. That's it. Let's go. You know what my father told me he did? Whenever he took a girl out, you know where he took her? McDonald's. All the time. That's what he said. He said, I always took her to McDonald's. I asked him why. I'll find out whether they want to be with me or something else. I don't need to go on many dates to find that out. You understand? He was like, this is what I'm doing. What are you doing? They would have a complaint. You know what he told me? My mom was the only one that had a great time. That's what he told me. Right? If where they are matters, well, then that's all that matters. You have to stop bullshitting yourself not to be you and to be what somebody else thinks you should be, because they're doing the same thing, by the way. Same thing. They're getting dressed according to what you think. You're getting dressed according to what they think. And none of you are getting dressed according to what you want. And don't tell me your makeup bullshit, okay? Because you're not waking up on Sunday morning and putting sweats on and putting all that makeup on. So don't tell me it's for you. That's a crock. If your expressions in that way use it, well, then that'll change, won't it? Not going to be the same makeup for 17 years with the same nail polish and all this other stuff that's on there. Nobody can see you. But then you're complaining they don't get to know you. Where are you? I'm trying to find where these people are even. Are you in there? You got this like mud pie on. What the hell is that? I mean, some people put it on, you can't tell, but some people it looks like they have mud pie on. That doesn't look good. It looks like you really don't like yourself. It really looks bad. I mean, I feel bad when I see that. I'm like, all I see is you don't like yourself. Well, how did you get like that? Like, how did that come to be that you don't like yourself that much that you got to cover yourself up like that? I mean, you're not trying to say something. You're just trying to hide stuff. There's a difference. That's the only way you can ever surround yourself with people that actually like you. Just that. But you have to first give them the opportunity. And you can't do that by not being you. So you don't even give them the opportunity, and then you're going to complain about them. Oh, they didn't even get to know me. Really? All I see is that everybody wants to be what they're not. Everybody's unhappy, except the people that you look up to, and most of them are people that they are not want to be. There's very few that are, by the way. There are very few that are really like, and you call it comfortable in your skin, which is a joke. But it's free in your skin. Okay? Very few people. Besides, that's psychological, that has you strive to be something that's virtual, and the best you're going to get is comfortable. Did you ever figure that that's what you're trying to be to impress people? Yeah, I'm comfortable in my skin. Really? You're comfortable? Wow. And you've reached the peak of comfort. Wow, that's great. You must have very high standards for you. People don't understand that people that say that are not comfortable in their own skin, what they call it. But if you're actually free in your own skin, it's like the default. You don't think about it even. It's like your default. It's what it is. It's not a conversation. Trust me. The schools compared to this is not going to compare. You want to go to school? You can keep going. You should keep going. But you have to do this. And then you'll have choice on what you want to do. And if you want to go to college, I have a whole thing on college. Like 9 minutes. I think you'll like it. It'll explain exactly what I think it should be used for. What I've seen. The value that it has for you. Which means it doesn't have value. You're going to have to decide for you what that building and all of those buildings have in store for you that you're going to choose. You're not just going to have to follow some path to get points. That's bullshit. No, that's a menu. And you're going to choose what you want and what you need. See? And what you're going to use. And that's all you're going to get. You don't want the other shit. You're just going to get what you need. That's it. And what you really need is all the social piece, by the way. But I'm talking about their book crap. Just take what you need. That's it. And the rest of the time, go explore. Go inquire. Go to China. Go to Italy. Go to Australia. Go somewhere. Do something. Look, the way I see it eventually is if these slugs don't wind up disappearing, going bye-bye, there's just going to wind up being chaos, or everything is going to be named We the People. And they'll all be out of business. Because they'll be We the People Airlines. They'll be We the People Food Services. We the People Zon. There'll be We the People Telecommunications. There'll be We the People Everything. And they're going to have them the slugs. Now, who are you signing up with? Because We the People is going to be basically pretty much free. And then the slugs, well, they're not even going to give you a ride on their boat.